Hey there YouTube, welcome back to part 2 of my third corps overview, and we'll be moving on to the next division, going backwards. So this will be the 10th Infantry Division, and it's commanded by this chap here, who is General de Division Baron Pierre Joseph Habert. And I believe this figure is a Perry's Colonel, from the Perry's Colonel pack. Really nice pack, and if I didn't have this pack, I would have been actually short of brigade commanders. So here's all this blurb on the bottom here, so you can see Habert, 10th Infantry Division, and then of course the 1st and 2nd Brigades abridged, and 3rd Corps. So that's the leader. Quite regal looking. So that I'll put him to the side here. Next up, we will go for the artillery. This is the 18th 2nd Foot Artillery, and here we go. These were my first pieces of French artillery that I'd ever done. We have a one cannon from the Victrix set here, and one Perry's gun here, and you can see that I went for a long coated crew on this gun in particular. Really do like Perry's guns. I've got 3 of them now, I think. I really do like them, and they're definitely well priced too, and I really do like the look of the extra pack of extra troops you can get as well, like the extra artillery crew, etc. And next time I obviously I do have to pick up a howitzer and a 6-pounder for my last division, and I'll make sure that I pick up that extra artillery pack to bolster the crew. So here we have the Victrix one, and you can see that this base has got the officer on, and of course these guys have got these slightly lighter blue uniforms. I don't know if I'll ever actually go back and repaint them. Theoretically I could, but it would be a lot of bother. But at least I kind of managed to get a good colour for the cannons. That was the main thing that was worrying me. I remember I posted a picture on one of the Black Powder forums, looking into a colour to choose for French cannons, and I can't remember the guy's name, but some chap wrote back saying that he gave me like the ratios of the actual colours they used to actually mix the colour, and he said to me like the closest colour that I know of that will match it is a sort of a French tank green, and he kind of just showed me like a picture of a Char B1, and strangely enough I actually had the Panzer Aces colour French tank. Is it French Tank Crew, I think, or Tank French Base, or something like that. I can't remember the exact name of the paint, but that worked out perfect, and that's kind of what I've stuck with. So that is the artillery, and it's supposed to be 6-pounders and 1 howitzer, I believe. But obviously I've just got 2 6-pounders in this particular unit. But I will on my I like to get 1 howitzer and 1 6-pounder if I can. So we'll just put those to the side, and now we'll start on the infantry. And the first unit, going backwards, will be the 2nd Foreign, or 2nd Swiss. And let's bring those guys in. Now this particular unit, I was quite chuffed that they had a foreign unit within their order of battle, because I really was kind of interested in painting a unit of Swiss, and just by fluke, they happened to have one in this particular corps. So here we have the second Swiss. Now these chaps are made out of. I seem to remember mentioning in my first video that I had 2 boxes of Parrys before, but I've actually had 3. And this unit was the first unit made out of my second box, and it is predominantly all Parrys apart from a few Victrix and possibly a front rank Eagle Bearer there, and this officer here could possibly be front rank as well, either that or he's Parrys. But I believe also most of the command group is actually front rank, apart from this officer here and possibly this officer here. And I believe, let me just check on that. Yeah, that's a Parry's metal Eagle Protector. So just bring them in. Now the main reason that I decided to put a few Victrix into this pack was just because of their positions, I think. But we'll start just brushing through them. So here we have the Grenadiers. Now obviously these chaps are wearing long coats, but of course the big difference with these guys is that they've got white epaulets, but they still have the red poms on top of their shakos. So that's the Grenadiers. Then we have the 4th Company, and I really wanted to have as many people as I possibly could in uniform without jackets on, so you can kind of paint the colours. And I think I worked out quite a good balance in the end. So we've got 2 on this stand here. These guys are all Parrys, you can see. Then we have the Voltigeurs, and these have actually got a few Victrix guys in. Of course, the other reason I wanted to put Victrix guys in was because of the slightly older uniforms, so they can have like a mixture. Because obviously these guys more or less stayed the same from their earlier engagements. So you'd imagine that some, not only as their colours still the same ones that they used like back in 1812, but also you'd imagine a lot of them would still have the older style uniforms. So we've got a nice little mixture. Plus the Victrix figures are pretty damn cool too. So we've got a couple in there, along with a couple of normal Parrys. And then we'll go for the drummer. So a nice green and gold drummer, very snazzy, and another 3 troopers. The NCO stand, and I decided to put another Victrix in here because I really do like this particular figure. I think he makes a great sergeant figure. Now I didn't actually convert this guy by giving him a sobriquet, which kind of thinking, if I were to do this unit like now, I probably would have. But at this time, I didn't really sort of do that. But I think he's still a cool figure, and I suppose I could put a stripe on his arms to show that he's a sergeant. But yeah, very cool figure there, and I think he makes quite a nice NCO figure. And then finally the command group here. So like I mentioned, that these chaps actually retain their old flag. They weren't issued a new one, and if they were, they didn't use it. Now, when you buy the flag pack for these guys, they do actually come with 2 battalions, but this particular unit is actually only 1 battalion, So maybe the 2nd Battalion is for the slightly older version of the 2nd Swiss. But you can see here, this chap here is definitely a front rank flag bearer or eagle bearer. He's one of the figures that you can buy separately on their own. This chap, I'm still a little undecided whether this guy is a front rank or not. He looks a little bit beefier than this chap here, which could mean that he is actually front rank, because this guy's definitely parries and this chap here is definitely parries. I just can't remember offhand. But yeah, that's the command stand, and the eagle bearer there, of course, he managed to get him into his red. Very cool. Definitely one of my favourite battalions within the army. So that is the 2nd Swiss, and they are commanded by a Colonel Augustin Eugene Stoffel. So let's move those guys out of the way, and we'll start on the next from the same brigade. We'll go for these guys here, which are the 70th, I hope. Yes, 70th. I have to try and come up with a way of being able to identify the units without having to either pick up the base or look on the flag. I was thinking of perhaps putting something on the sort of the back of the stand, as in along here. But unless you find, have a really thin piece of paper, there's no real easy way of doing it. I also thought of perhaps just painting the regiment number on there, so just have like a 70 painted on there small, just so that I can quickly identify them. But here we have the Grenadiers, and you can see there's a Perry sapper there, and the rest of them are all Perrys. So this is probably the 2nd Battalion that was made out of that my 2nd Perry's box. So the 4th there, got a couple of guys in long coats, and I think these guys were the first ones. I've just lost a backpack there. Casualty of war there. Well, very loosely. Okay, next up, the Voltigeurs, and again all Perrys there, which again is adding evidence to the point of these chaps actually being the first unit that I made out of the Perry's box, and perhaps the 2nd Swiss were the 2nd unit because they've got some Victrix in. So here we have the drummer, again blue and gold, and again all Perrys, including a metal Perry's drummer there. This was the point where I discovered Perry's and just discovered front rank, and I started predominantly buying front rank soon after this point. I think this sergeant had spare, which is why he's actually crept into this unit. But we have a sergeant, a front rank sergeant, and 3 Perrys there. And then finally the command group, and the flag, of course, the 70th line, and we have a front rank officer on the front there, and I believe all the other 3 are all Perrys. So we have a Perry's Eagle Protector and a Perry's officer there, and this guy could possibly be front rank. I don't recall the Perrys having a guy in that particular position. But yeah, again, nice metal command group. That is the 70th, and they are led by Colonel Jean-Pierre Maury. So let's move these guys. Put them back there. Pardon me. Okay, next up, we'll go for the 22nd, which I believe are one of my older units. That's actually the 34th. This must be the 22nd. Yes, here we go. So it looks like these guys are also made out of Perry. So these boys are probably from my first box of Perrys. So here we go. So, like I say, these guys are the 22nd Line Regiment, and they are commanded by a Colonel Louis Flor. He's got a very long name, this guy. I'm going to read off the bottom of his page here. Colonel Louis Florimond Fantin des Odoras. Odords. So quite a mouthful there, and I probably butchered it. But you can see 22nd, and I also noticed that if you flip the flag over, they actually have their battle honours on the opposite side of the flag. But we'll start with. I don't think. Did any of the other units have any battle honours? They didn't. Second Swiss are sure to have some, aren't they? Yes, here we go. Second Swiss have got some. Oh, actually, yeah, they haven't. They haven't got the. No, they don't have it on these flags. Nope. I know there's at least one veteran unit within these boys. But anyway, let's go back to these guys. So, like I say, again, these guys are looking predominantly Perrys. We've got the Perry Sapper there. 3 Perrys, long jacketed guys, and the Grenadiers. The 4th Company, again, all Perrys. And the Voltigeurs, same. These guys have got the, have actually got hand painted horns on the backs of their cartridge cases, because at this particular point I'd mislaid my my transfers, and I did actually come across them again, but much later on. So we'll go for the drummer. So here we have a green jacket with gold gold lacing, and 3 other normal Perry's troops or Fusiliers. The sergeant's stand. No denoted sergeant on this, but obviously this guy is perhaps the sergeant because he's been put on to stand out against the other 3. And finally the command. So here we have a Perry's standard holder, and a couple of this guy's definitely front rank. This chap kind of looks like he could be Perry's. Again, I'm a little confused. And finally the Eagle Bearer's Perry's. So there's probably a good chance that this guy could be Perry's, because I don't recognise the sculpt as a front rank, and plus he's got a much a very similar sized head to the guy next to him, and also the Eagle Bearer. So that's also a good indication that he's Perry's, because front rank do have just slightly bigger heads. So that is the 22nd. Is that right, 22nd? Yes, 22nd. Okay, so let's move these chaps to the side. On to the last 2 battalions now. what I'll do is, to save time, I'll actually bring them in like this. So here we have the first, and this is definitely one of my older units, because there's numerous ways I can tell, but there's one particularly annoying way. So this is the, I'm not 100% sure which unit it is, 34th line, and they are commanded by a Colonel Jean-Antoine Augustin Mouton. And we'll just give you again a quick glance over them. So here we have an old school style Warlord Command figure, who is, I think he's supposed to be a sergeant, but I have made him a grenadier in this particular stance. And I believe these three guys are Warlord as well. And you can tell this is probably like one of my last units from the starter box set, because they have the plastic bases that come with the starter set. So that is the Grenadiers. And then we have another one of these really annoying, and they still baffle me to this day why I decided to do them in this style, but we have the 4th Company here on a split base, basically. So would it be like a 20 by 40, I guess. And again, all Warlord, so you can tell this is an oldie. And my rather poor attempt to actually paint ends on the cartridge cases on these guys. So that is the 4th Company. I would really like to change their base, but the trouble is that once these guys are stuck to these bases, the actual, it's almost like a well. You just can't get them off, and you basically have to kind of cut them off the base, and it leaves like part of the base on the bottom of them, and you just can't get it off. But other than that, maybe one day I'll go, I'll man up and have the bravery to attempt to do that again, because I've had a terrible time with them with my British when I've tried to change those guys back on my early British units. So here we have some voltigeurs. Now the yellow is actually looking a little bit orange on the camera here, but it's actually yellow. And again, these guys are all Warlord, I believe. So that is the voltigeurs. Then we have the drummer base, and another indication that this is one of my old school units, because the sapper is on the front next to the drummer. Of course, as you've just seen in my last video, my more modern version of doing it is to actually put him in with the Grenadiers, and of course it saves your Grenadier figure. But here we have an old school drummer, Warlord, and he does actually have a long jacket on, and of course a sapper with a long jacket, like I remember saying with the Calpe one being in a long coat, that Warlord could have possibly had one in a long coat too, and they do. So that is the drummer's base, again all Warlord, including one metal. Then we have the NCO stand, and again no dedicated sergeant, but again all Warlord. And I do actually quite like the Warlord French. In fact, actually, I like the Warlord British as well. It's just their command figures I'm not particularly keen on. So here we have the command group for the 34th, and these guys do actually have some battle honours. So we have Ulm and Austerlitz on these guys' flag, and we have again the old school style of three officers and one normal fusilier. This guy, he kind of looks like he could be a Perry's banner holder actually, this guy. But these two officers are definitely Warlord. And that is the command stand for the 22nd. Is it the 22nd? No, 34th, sorry. 34th. I do quite like these tassels, though, on the Warlord Eagles. But of course, this is an old school kind of spear that obviously predates me coming across front rank banners, which again predominantly were used in all my later units. But yeah, that's those guys. And now finally, the last unit of this division. So we'll just move these guys over to there. So these chaps will be the 88th, and they are commanded by a Colonel Jacques Louis Mouton. And let's do a quick run through these boys. These guys kind of look predominantly a mixture of Warlord and Perry's. So these are probably the 2nd Battalion made out of my very first Perry's box, I think. But we'll find out. These are, I'm pretty sure this guy's a Perry's. I think 3 of those are Warlord though. It's 4th Company. Voltigeurs. Definitely got. I think they could all be Perry's on this particular base. Again, hand-drawn horns on their cartridge cases. The drummer. Plastic Perry's drummer being used, the very first one that I did actually use. I'm very picky with using plastic figures, but the Perry's drummer and the Perry's standards always got used if possible. It's the officer that I took a disliking to from the Perry's set. So here we have the drummer, green and gold for his jacket. Then we have the sergeant stand. Again, no denoted sergeant, but this chap here would be him. I suppose I could paint sergeant stripe on him just to make him stick out. And finally, the last command stand of this division. We have these are, I believe they're all, it's all Perry's on here. We have the plastic standard being used here. We have 2 officers, both of which I believe are from the Perry's officer pack, and 1 Fusilier, old school style. And on the bottom here is my old style of doing the unit's information, which is basically by sticking the little paper things that come with a flag onto the bottom. So we have 88th Line, 1st Brigade, 10th Division, 3rd Corps, Van Damme 1815. And let me just check the old, yeah. '88th. Yes. So that is the end of this second division of my Slide Core collection. And if we just do a quick take camera quickly, you can see that I have set up the 1st Division marching across the table there. We've got the 12-pounders on that hill over there, laying down some support, and we've got the divisional artillery set up by that ruined farmhouse over there, and of course, Captain Volon, whatever his name was, and of course the 11th Division marching across the battlefield. And of course I will add these chaps to the scene, and after my last video I'll do a kind of maybe I'll do like an extra video on the end of just after I've set them all up, of just going across what they look like all set up on the table, because it will be the first time I've actually gathered them all together on an actual table rather than on the shelf, where they were all kind of packed very closely together to try and save space. So that is the end of this video. Quick bit of waffle on the end. Thank you to a few more subscribers. I think I'm on 296, I think. So I'm getting near that 300 mark. Thank you to everyone that's subscribed. Hope you enjoy the content. And just a little bit on the end here for Becca's. I didn't participate in the Becca's Command Challenge, as you probably have kind of worked out by now. But I did kind of leave him a message on his original video, and I hope you're out there getting well, and I hope you're back to normal soon. So get well soon, Beckers, and I guess I'll catch everyone in the next video. Bye bye.